You're gonna make me walk away from all this money. Can we not just write one good storyline? Does everything have to be fucking stupid?
Every few months, it happens again. A blurry photo, a source close to the situation, a headline built to make your thumb stop scrolling. Jon Moxley signs with WWE. Moxley returns at SummerSlam, the Shield reunites, and every single time, it's nothing. Because here's the truth nobody wants to click on. Jon Moxley isn't coming back. Not this year, not next year, maybe not ever. To understand why, you don't need a rumor, you need a story. And it starts 7 years ago, in the one place Jon Moxley swore he'd never go back to being. Before he was Jon Moxley, he was Dean Ambrose, a former WWE champion, a 3-time Intercontinental champion, 1/3 of arguably the most beloved faction of the modern era, the Shield. On paper, he had everything. In reality, he was suffocating. In the spring of 2019, WWE put a contract in front of him. By most accounts, it was a significant offer. Real money, real security, the kind of deal most wrestlers spend a career chasing. He turned it down. Why walk away from guaranteed money? Because for Ambrose, the paycheck was never the problem. The character was. Reports at the time described his decision as driven by frustration with how his character was being used creatively and a desire to express himself more authentically in the ring. He didn't want to be handed a script anymore. He wanted to bleed for real. So he let the deal expire, and less than a month later, at the very first pay-per-view of a brand new promotion nobody was sure would survive its first year, the lights dropped, the crowd lost its mind, and Dean Ambrose walked out as somebody else entirely. Jon Moxley had arrived. And WWE had just watched a former world champion choose the unknown over the empire. Here's where most stories like this one fall apart. A wrestler leaves. He struggles somewhere else. The lights are dimmer, the crowds are smaller, and eventually, quietly, he crawls back. That's the pattern. That's the story WWE fans have watched play out for decades. Except Moxley never followed the script. By 2022, AEW handed him something WWE never had. The keys. A world championship reign, creative control over his own character, a platform to work with legends across the globe. And that October, Tony Khan made an announcement that should have ended the WWE return rumors for good. He revealed on social media that Jon Moxley had signed a 5-year contract extension with the company, not 5 months, not a one-off, 5 years. Tying him to All Elite Wrestling and its partner promotions like New Japan deep into the back half of the decade. But contracts are just paper. What matters is what's underneath the signature. And what was underneath Moxley's signature was something WWE couldn't buy back with any amount of money. The truth about what almost broke him. In the run-up to that new deal, Moxley didn't just talk about wrestling, he talked about the man underneath the wrestling. He admitted he'd been in a dark place. Constant travel, constant flights, a grinding schedule that left him disconnected from his own life, his own family. He described a period where he was struggling with his mental state, exhausted by the road, homesick, and even considering stepping away to freelance once his deal expired. Then came rehab, then came a reset, and when he came out the other side, something had changed. Not his address on the roster, his entire relationship to the business. He described AEW afterward as the best job in the world, a place where wrestling was the only thing he had to worry about, and said he had no intention of leaving. That's not the language of a man plotting an exit, that's the language of a man who finally stopped running. And according to wrestling's most trusted insider, that wasn't just PR spin. Dave Meltzer, the most respected voice in the industry, put it in blunter terms, describing Moxley as someone with zero interest in a return, someone who didn't want to be dangled as leverage between two companies, and who wanted every rumor of a WWE run put to rest for good. Meltzer characterized Moxley as viewing AEW and New Japan, not WWE, as the place to build his legacy as the best professional wrestler alive. Let that sink in. This isn't a guy staying quiet to keep his options open. This is a guy actively trying to kill the speculation. Rumors are free, contracts cost money, so let's follow the money. As of the most recent reporting from Fightful Select, the outlet Wrestling Insiders trust more than almost anyone. Jon Moxley's AEW contract runs through 2027, a deal that was confirmed directly by the company itself. That's not a leak. That's not a source who wishes to remain anonymous. That's the number on the record. And here's the part that should end every "is he leaving" headline before it's even published. Insiders have reported he's under contract until at least 2027, following his decision not to re-sign with WWE at all in 2019, a jump WWE reportedly never expected him to make. He's not a free agent quietly waiting for his window. His window doesn't open again until years from now. So every time you see a headline claiming he's signed with WWE or returning at SummerSlam, ask yourself one question. If a contract exists that locks him to a rival promotion for years, who benefits from you believing otherwise? There's a deeper reason too, one that has nothing to do with money or contracts and everything to do with status. In WWE, even at his peak, Dean Ambrose was one piece of a machine, a third of a trio, a name in a rotation of dozens of championship caliber stars, always competing for the spotlight against a roster built like a factory floor. In AEW, Jon Moxley isn't competing for the spotlight. He's widely regarded as the company's ace, its defining foundational star. He's held multiple world championships, he's led one of the most feared factions in modern wrestling, and as of this year, he stands as AEW's Continental Champion, leading a faction known as the Death Riders. Ask yourself, if you built an empire from the ground up, would you hand it back to the landlord who evicted you? And yet the rumors keep coming. Every summer, like clockwork, a new one goes viral. This year was no different. A supposed insider claimed Moxley was going to interfere at SummerSlam, inserting himself into a match between two of WWE's biggest stars. The post exploded online, 40,000 likes and counting. It was, according to every actual wrestling reporter tracking the story, nothing more than internet noise, a sarcastic joke that snowballed into a leak. Even the outlets covering it made clear there had been no real indication his AEW contract was anywhere near expiring, putting the odds of an imminent WWE return close to zero. The far more grounded theory circulating among insiders wasn't a WWE appearance at all. It was speculation about a possible AEW dream match on AEW's own biggest stage, not a jump to the competition. So why do these rumors refuse to die? Because Jon Moxley is, whether he likes it or not, the most valuable what if in professional wrestling. A former WWE champion, a former Shield member, a guy fans still associate with Monday nights, even years after he walked away. The rumor mill doesn't need him to actually leave. It just needs you to wonder if he might. Now, to be fair, nothing in wrestling is ever truly never. Contracts expire, promotions change, people change. Even the reporting that paints the clearest picture of a man who's done with WWE leaves one door cracked open not soon, and not likely, but theoretically. Some analysts have floated the idea that Moxley's stance could shift only under extreme circumstances, if AEW itself were ever to fold, or if, years from now, his current deal simply runs its course, and the calculus changes. But even then, the emotional debt remains. Moxley was reportedly furious with WWE by the time he left, not disappointed, not restless, angry. And anger like that doesn't evaporate because a contract number gets bigger. Right now, in 2026, none of those extreme circumstances exist. AEW isn't folding, Moxley isn't unhappy, and his signature is already on a contract that runs through 2027. So the next time a headline tells you Jon Moxley is on his way back to WWE, back to the company that once made him feel like he was disappearing inside his own character, remember what actually happened. He didn't leave WWE by accident. He left on purpose, with a real contract offer sitting on the table, unsigned. He didn't rebuild his career in AEW by accident either. He became the ace of an entire promotion, headlining pay-per-views, holding championships, leading factions on his own terms. And he didn't sign 5 years soon to be extended even further by accident. Jon Moxley didn't escape WWE to eventually crawl back to it. He escaped it to become something WWE never let him be. The question was never times will he go back. The real question is, why would he?